The real secret behind the master key to riches. What if I told you that your greatest asset is not your education, your network, your money, or even your talent? What if the real key, the master key, to everything you want in life was already inside you, waiting to be unlocked? That's exactly what Napoleon Hill argues in The Master Key to Riches. This isn't just another self-help book. It's a wake-up call. A bold reminder that the power to transform your life, financially, emotionally, spiritually, is not out there in the world. It's in your attitude. Specifically, in your positive mental attitude, or PMA. Hill spent more than 25 years studying the most successful people in the world. He sat face-to-face with men like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, and dozens of others who rose from nothing to build empires. What did they all have in common? Not wealth, not connections, not luck. They had an unshakable mindset. They had faith when others doubted. They saw opportunities where others saw fear. They acted when others hesitated. That mindset is what Hill calls the positive mental attitude, and it is the master key that unlocks every door. Now, let's be clear. This is not about being blindly optimistic or naive. Hill doesn't preach fantasy. He teaches discipline, mental control, self-leadership. PMA is not the same as positive thinking, the way the world defines it. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing to see possibility, even when reality looks like failure. It's about training your mind to respond with courage instead of fear, with faith instead of doubt, with action instead of excuse. And here's the core truth Hill wants you to understand. If you don't take control of your mind, someone or something else will. And when that happens, failure is guaranteed. PMA is the antidote to failure. It's the invisible force that turns a losing hand into a winning game. It's what gives an underdog the power to defy the odds. It's what makes a broke man a millionaire, not just in money, but in spirit. Hill warns us, the world is full of poison, fear, criticism, envy, gossip, hate, laziness, distraction. These forces kill success at the root. And they all begin in your mind. That's why your mental attitude isn't just important, it's everything. Every thought you think either feeds your success or feeds your destruction. There is no neutral. There is no maybe. You are either moving forward or falling behind. And the starting point, always, is your attitude. In this book, Hill goes beyond the foundational principles he shared in Think and Grow Rich. He doesn't just talk about goals or desire or faith in the abstract. He shows you how PMA is the unifying thread behind every principle of success. Without it, nothing works. With it, everything changes. But here's what makes this book different, and dangerous, in the best way. Hill puts the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. He doesn't let you blame your past, your parents, the economy, or your luck. He says, you are where you are because of your mental habits. Period. That's a hard truth. But it's also the most empowering truth you'll ever hear. Because if your habits got you here, you can change them. If your thoughts created your reality, you can rebuild it. If your attitude closed doors, you can now open them with the master key. This book is not about secrets hidden in ancient scrolls or magical rituals. It's about the daily, conscious, disciplined act of choosing to think in ways that serve your purpose. It's about taking control of the one thing you truly own, your mind. So, if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever wondered why you're not further along in life, if you've ever sensed that something inside you is blocking your own progress, this is your moment. This is your invitation to shift from fear to power, from excuse to action, from chaos to clarity. In the next chapters, we're going to break down exactly how PMA works, how to build it, and how to use it to create success in any area of life. Money, health, love, career, purpose. But before we begin, I want you to remember one thing. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. And the first step to becoming that person is mastering your attitude. Let's begin. Block 1. Positive mental attitude. The real wealth engine. If you study the lives of great men and women, those who built fortunes, led revolutions, cured diseases, or changed the world, you'll notice something striking. It's not just their skills. It's not just their education. It's not even their connections. It's their attitude, their mindset, their unshakable belief that they could win, even when everything seemed against them. That is what Napoleon Hill calls positive mental attitude, or PMA. And in The Master Key to Riches, he declares, without hesitation, that PMA is the one thing you must have to unlock everything else in life. But what exactly is positive mental attitude? It is not wishful thinking. It is not naive optimism. It is not pretending that problems don't exist. PMA is the decision to control your mind and focus it on solutions, not problems, on faith, not fear, on action, not paralysis. It is the habit of thought that separates the successful from the defeated. It is a choice, made daily, often in silence, often in pain. Hill believed, after studying hundreds of the most powerful and successful individuals in the world, that this internal attitude was always the first cause of their outer results. Not talent, not money, not luck. Let's be honest. How many people do you know who are intelligent, talented, even hardworking, yet they never rise above mediocrity? Why? Because their minds are ruled by negative mental attitudes. They complain, they blame, they hesitate, they doubt. They let fear dictate their steps. They believe more in problems than in solutions. They focus on limitations instead of opportunities. And then there are others, less experienced, less resourced, maybe even less talented, who rise above everyone else. Not because they have more, but because they think differently. That's the power of PMA. The silent enemy. Negative mental attitude, NMA. Before we go deeper into what PMA can do, we have to recognize its opposite. Negative mental attitude, the silent killer of dreams. NMA shows up subtly. It whispers, "I'm not good enough. It's too late. What if I fail? People like me don't succeed. I'll start tomorrow." These thoughts feel real. They feel true. But they're lies. And the more you entertain them, the more they poison your progress. Napoleon Hill warned that NMA is the most dangerous force in the world, because it hides inside your own mind. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It becomes habit. And worst of all, it feels normal. That's why most people never break free. They aren't defeated by the world. They are defeated by their own thinking. Hill teaches that your attitude is not neutral. It is either working for you or against you. Every thought you think moves you toward success, or away from it. And that brings us to a brutal truth. Where you are in life right now is a reflection of your dominant mental attitude. Not your luck. Not your past. Not your circumstances. Your attitude. If that stings, good. That means you're waking up. Because once you accept that truth, you also gain a new power. The power to change your mind, and with it, your entire life. How PMA works. The chain reaction. So, how does positive mental attitude actually work? Hill describes it as the starting point of a chain reaction, a domino effect that shapes every part of your reality. Here's how it unfolds. Your attitude shapes your thoughts. When you choose PMA, you train your mind to look for solutions instead of problems. You see opportunities others miss. You feed your subconscious with empowering ideas. Your thoughts influence your emotions. With PMA, you feel more hopeful, more resilient, more determined. Even when life hits hard, your emotional baseline remains constructive. Your emotions drive your actions. When you feel capable and focused, you take bold steps. You act instead of freeze. You persist instead of quit. Your actions produce your results. Success becomes a natural outcome, not because it's easy, but because you're aligned. You've become the kind of person who attracts success through discipline, clarity, and courage. And the beauty is this: you can start that chain reaction anytime, by choosing a new attitude, right now. You are the gatekeeper. Hill emphasizes one fact over and over again. You are the master of your mind. Nothing has the power to enter your mental world unless you allow it. That means every complaint, every excuse, every fear-based belief, you let it in. But that also means you can kick it out. You can replace it. You can decide today that your mind will be a temple, not a garbage can. This is not motivational hype. This is mental sovereignty. You have been given the most powerful tool in existence, your conscious ability to choose your thoughts. Animals don't have this. Most humans don't use it. But it's yours, right now. And it's how you access the master key. PMA and wealth. Let's talk money. Does PMA guarantee wealth? No. But Hill would argue, nothing guarantees wealth without PMA. Money flows toward people with clarity, persistence, faith, and the courage to serve others at a high level. All of those traits begin with attitude. When you cultivate PMA, you naturally develop the mental habits that lead to financial growth. You solve problems rather than run from them. You treat setbacks as feedback, not failure. You take responsibility instead of making excuses. You keep going long after others have quit. You attract allies, ideas, and opportunities. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to believe that you deserve to be wealthy. Not because of entitlement, but because you've become valuable. Remember this, money is a byproduct of value, and PMA makes you valuable. Case study, the rags to riches pattern. Hill shares countless stories in his work about men who started with nothing and became titans of industry. But the most important part of those stories isn't their rise. It's their mindset before they rose. Almost every one of them faced failure, rejection, ridicule, poverty. Some were homeless. Some had no formal education. Some had physical disabilities. But they refused to adopt a negative attitude. They believed they could win. They focused on their goals. They trained their minds. They got back up, again and again. Eventually, the world had no choice but to reflect their belief. Victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. Napoleon Hill. That refusal, that grit, starts in the mind, not in the bank account. Final word of Block 1. You begin where you are. You might be thinking, but I've made mistakes. I've failed. I've been negative. I've sabotaged myself. Good. You're not alone. Hill never expected you to be perfect. He expected you to wake up. The first act of PMA is self-awareness. The second is decision. So decide now. You don't need to be rich to start. You don't need a business plan or a mentor or a breakthrough idea. You just need the willingness to take full control of your thoughts, one day at a time. From this point on, you stop waiting for life to change. You stop blaming anyone. You stop giving your power away. The master key is already in your hands. You either use it or let it rust. Building positive mental attitude. A daily discipline of power. You've heard the theory. You've felt the truth. You know now that positive mental attitude, PMA, is the master key to everything. Wealth, peace, confidence, opportunity, even love. But theory without application is useless. Napoleon Hill didn't write the master key to riches to make you feel good. He wrote it to help you build mental habits that lead to real results. Because that's the heart of PMA. It's not just a one-time choice. It's a daily discipline. A way of thinking that becomes automatic because you've trained your mind like an athlete trains a muscle. And just like with physical training, if you stop working the mental muscle, it begins to atrophy. That's why Hill emphasizes daily control of thought. In this block, we're going to break down how to build PMA step by step so that it becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. This isn't about motivation. It's about mental engineering. Let's begin. Step 1. Start with a definite major purpose. PMA begins with clarity. You must know where you're going. Not vaguely. Not someday. You need a definite major purpose. Something that burns inside you. Something worth fighting for. Why? Because purpose gives your attitude direction. Without it, positivity turns into wishful thinking. But when you combine PMA with a crystal clear goal, it becomes unstoppable. Hill insisted, there is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Why do I want it? What am I willing to give to get it? Write it down. Read it every morning and every night. This is how you program your subconscious. Without a purpose, your mind wanders. With purpose, it becomes a laser. Step 2. Monitor your inner dialogue relentlessly. PMA is not built on what you say out loud. It's built on what you say to yourself when no one is watching. Hill teaches that your internal dialogue is your master switch. If you don't monitor it, negative mental attitude, NMA, creeps in unnoticed. Start today with radical self-honesty. Begin to notice. Do you criticize yourself? Do you use defeatist language? Do you say, I can't, I'm not, it's too late, I always fail? Catch these thoughts. Challenge them. Replace them. Say instead, I am capable. I will figure this out. This is teaching me something. Everything is working in my favor, even if I don't understand it yet. This is not delusion. This is conscious reprogramming. And it works. Step 3. Feed your mind like a warrior. A mind left untrained will rot. Just like a body left on the couch becomes weak, a mind left in passivity becomes toxic. Hill emphasized the need to control your mental diet. What you read, watch, listen to, and think about becomes who you are. If you want PMA to thrive, you must starve negativity and feed your mind daily with strength. Read books that challenge and uplift you. Listen to voices that believe in human potential. Cut out gossip, news that triggers fear, and conversations that drain you. You are not just choosing entertainment. You are choosing what lives in your mind. Every minute you invest in high-quality thinking strengthens your PMA. Make this non-negotiable. Step 4. Use autosuggestion with precision. One of Hill's most powerful tools is autosuggestion, the practice of speaking affirmations directly to your subconscious to override fear and doubt. This isn't about repeating cute slogans. This is about repetition with emotion. Here's how to do it right. Take your definite major purpose and craft it into a clear, emotionally charged statement. Say it out loud, with conviction, twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. Visualize the result. Feel it, see it, smell it. Own it mentally before it arrives physically. Always speak in the present tense. I am, not I will be. Why does this work? Because the subconscious doesn't filter. It believes whatever it's told with emotion and repetition. If you don't feed it intentionally, it will absorb fear, doubt, and mediocrity from the world. Take control of the message. Repeat it. Live it. Let it shape your belief system. Step 5. Cultivate gratitude in every circumstance. Gratitude is the emotional foundation of PMA. Hill warned that resentment, bitterness, and complaint are subtle poisons that erode your attitude from within. You can't hold PMA and anger at the same time. One will drive the other out. Make it a daily practice to express gratitude for what you have, what you've survived, what you've learned, what you're building, even the pain that's taught you. This is not spiritual fluff. This is emotional mastery. Gratitude is how you stay connected to strength, even when life is hard. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. Start a gratitude log. Say, thank you, out loud. Feel it in your chest. You cannot rise in vibration while complaining. Gratitude is the frequency of power. Step 6. Act in spite of fear, daily. One of Hill's central teachings is that action cures fear. You will never feel ready. You will never have all the answers. PMA doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you move anyway. Make a list every morning of 1 or 2 things you've been avoiding because of discomfort. Then attack them first. That call you don't want to make it. That project you keep postponing, begin it. That habit you keep breaking, recommit today. Every time you act in the face of fear, you train your subconscious to respect you. And once you respect yourself, your attitude begins to shift from within. You are no longer a slave to fear. You become a commander of your own mind. Step 7. Associate only with builders, not destroyers. Hill was ruthless on this point. Your environment either supports PMA or kills it. And the most powerful part of your environment is your circle. Are the people around you building or destroying, complaining or creating, victims or victors, dreamers or doubters? PMA is contagious. So is NMA. You cannot afford to surround yourself with people who constantly reinforce doubt, fear, sarcasm, and limitation. If your current environment is toxic and you cannot leave it physically, then build a new mental environment. Follow mentors online. Read empowering biographies. Speak affirmations louder than the noise around you. You become who you are around. Choose carefully. Step 8. Expect victory, even in silence. This is the invisible secret of PMA. Expectation. Hill said that success often begins as an unseen force. Before anyone believes in you, before you have external proof, you must expect it inside. Expectation is not arrogance. It is faith in action. Every day, wake up and expect something good. Expect progress. Expect answers. Expect growth, even if you can't see it yet. When you expect victory, your body changes. Your posture shifts. Your energy rises. People feel it. Opportunities respond. Most people expect failure and call it realism. That mindset is poverty in disguise. Choose faith. Expect good. Watch what happens. Step 9. End each day with mental cleanup. The final part of building PMA is to close your day with reflection and realignment. Before bed, ask yourself, did I lead my thoughts today? Where did I slip into fear or negativity? What am I proud of today? What do I choose to improve tomorrow? This nightly audit isn't about guilt, it's about growth. Just like a business tracks profits and losses, your mind must track alignment. The last thought before sleep is one of the most powerful. Make it count. End the day in gratitude, in faith, in belief. Your subconscious will work all night on the thoughts you give it. Final word of block 2. You are the architect. You are not a prisoner of your mind. You are the architect. Every thought is a blueprint. Every choice of focus is a brick. Every repetition is a foundation. And little by little, day by day, your attitude becomes your house. You live in it. You invite others into it. You build your future with it. PMA is not something you're born with. It's something you construct on purpose. And now you know how. The only question is, will you build it or will you let it collapse under the weight of your old habits? You already have the master key. Use it. Block 3. Turning obstacles into opportunities. The hidden power of PMA. Every person who ever accomplished something great, whether in business, science, art, or leadership, faced failure. Crushing, humiliating, overwhelming failure. But they didn't stop. Why? Because they learned to reinterpret obstacles through the lens of positive mental attitude, PMA. This is not positive thinking for its own sake. This is mental alchemy, the art of transforming pain into power, setback into strategy, rejection into redirection. Napoleon Hill believed that failure is never the end unless you accept it as such. In fact, he argued that within every failure is the seed of an equal or greater benefit, but only if you have the eyes to see it. And PMA gives you those eyes. In this block, we'll explore how to use PMA to not only endure obstacles, but to turn them into the very stepping stones of your success. Because once you stop seeing problems as stop signs, and start seeing them as training grounds, your entire relationship with adversity changes. Let's begin. The great law: every adversity carries a gift. Hill's writings consistently point to one central belief. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is not just a nice quote. It is a universal law, but it's only activated through PMA. Most people go through hardship and only see pain. They curse the experience. They resist it. They try to escape it. And because of that, they miss the hidden opportunity. But those who develop PMA respond differently. They ask better questions. What can I learn from this? How is this making me stronger? What hidden door is this forcing me to find? What skills am I developing that I'll use later? This shift in perspective turns failure into feedback. PMA doesn't remove obstacles. It changes your response to them. And in doing so, it changes your future. The failure filter. 2 people, 1 problem, 2 realities. Imagine this. 2 people lose their job. 1 spirals into depression. He blames the economy, his boss, the system. He spends months complaining, applying passively, rejecting every idea that feels too risky. He becomes bitter, afraid, and stagnant. The other person sees the layoff as a signal. This is my time to grow. She uses the free time to develop new skills. She networks. She reflects on what she really wants. She starts a side hustle that later becomes a full business. Same external event. 2 mental attitudes. 2 radically different outcomes. Hill taught that circumstances have no meaning except the meaning you give them. You can't control what happens, but you can always control how you interpret it. And that interpretation defines your future. That is the power of PMA. It is the filter through which you see life. And that filter determines your results. Case study: Thomas Edison and the factory fire. In 1914, Thomas Edison's laboratory caught fire. Decades of experiments, research, and prototypes were destroyed. His son ran to find him, panicked, expecting devastation. Instead, Edison calmly said, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." Later he said, "Although I am over 67 years old, I'll start all over again tomorrow." And he did. Within weeks, Edison rebuilt. Within months, he produced some of the most profitable inventions of his career. That is PMA in action. Edison didn't just endure tragedy, he leveraged it. He chose a mindset of creative power, not victimhood. He focused on rebuilding, not blaming. He saw fire not as destruction, but as purification. When you have PMA, even devastation becomes raw material. Reframing failure, from dead end to data. One of the greatest shifts you can make with PMA is learning to reframe failure as data. Most people treat failure as a dead end, something shameful, a reason to quit. But Hill teaches that failure is information. It's feedback. It's correction. It's life showing you what doesn't work, so you can get one step closer to what does. Think about inventors, scientists, athletes. They expect failure. They study it. They use it. And because of that, they grow exponentially faster than those who fear it. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this failure? What would I do differently next time? What weakness did it expose? And how can I strengthen it? What truth did this force me to face? When you approach every loss as a lesson, you become invincible. Nothing is wasted. Everything serves your purpose. Emotional resilience. PMA as mental armor. Life will hit you. No matter how skilled, smart, or spiritual you are, there will be moments of heartbreak, rejection, loss, betrayal, or humiliation. Hill understood this well. But PMA doesn't eliminate pain. It gives you the resilience to move through it without being broken by it. With PMA, you feel pain, but don't collapse. Face loss, but stay open. Get rejected, but remain self-respecting. Hear criticism, but stay focused on your mission. PMA doesn't mean you're numb. It means you're anchored. You don't allow temporary emotions to define your identity. You stay rooted in vision, in faith, in progress. This emotional strength is the difference between those who bounce back and those who stay down for life. The role of delayed success. One of the most deceptive traps of modern life is instant gratification. People expect results fast. And when success doesn't arrive on their timeline, they assume it's failure. But Hill teaches that delayed success is not denial, it's preparation. Many of the most successful people he studied struggled for years before their breakthrough. Why? Because they needed to develop character. They needed to build strength. They needed time to become the kind of person who could handle their dream. PMA helps you embrace the weight. You stay faithful even when the evidence is missing. You keep showing up even when no one notices. You grow in the shadows, trusting that the light will come. Without PMA, people quit too soon. With PMA, you build momentum behind the scenes, until the tipping point arrives. Adversity reveals hidden strength. You don't know how powerful you are until you're tested. Adversity is the arena where strength is forged. And PMA is the coach that tells you, in your lowest moment, you are not done yet. Think of the hardest moment in your life. The one you thought would break you. Now realize, you're still here. You survived. You learned. Maybe you even grew. PMA helps you mine those moments for power. It reminds you that if you handled that, you can handle anything. Instead of asking, why me? You ask, what now? Instead of saying, this is the end, you say, this is where I rise. Every difficulty becomes proof of who you're becoming. Strategic questions to trigger opportunity. When you're facing a setback, stop and ask, what's the opportunity hiding inside this challenge? What can I do right now that I wouldn't have done without this obstacle? What would the strongest version of me do in this situation? How will this experience help me lead, teach, or serve others better? These questions aren't just motivational, they're strategic. They turn your mind from victim mode to creator mode. PMA isn't about pretending it's easy. It's about staying in command, even when it's hard. Final word of Block 3. The obstacle is the door. You will face failure. You will face resistance. You will face moments when quitting feels logical, comfortable, even justified. But those moments are the gateways to power. They are not blocks on the path. They are the path. PMA doesn't erase the obstacle. It turns the obstacle into a door and hands you the key. And once you pass through, you won't just have a result. You'll have strength. You'll have character. You'll have the proof that you can rise again and again, no matter what. This is not theory. This is your new identity. You are not just a dreamer. You are a builder. You are not just someone who wants success. You are someone who creates it, even from the ashes. You now see what most people don't. Failure is feedback. Pain is information. Obstacles are invitations to rise. And PMA is your guide. Block 4, PMA and the Invisible Laws of Success. Activating the Cosmic Habit Force. By now, you understand that positive mental attitude, PMA, is not just a nice mindset, it's the foundation of your entire success architecture. But in the Master Key to Riches, Napoleon Hill takes the conversation one step further. He introduces a powerful, almost mystical force that explains why PMA works so effectively and how success becomes automatic when you align with it. He called it the Cosmic Habit Force. This concept might sound abstract at first, but Hill insisted it was as real and predictable as gravity. He believed that success is not a result of chance or random motivation. It is a result of laws. And the most powerful of these is the law of habit reinforced by the cosmic intelligence of the universe. In other words, when you choose PMA repeatedly and consistently, you build mental and emotional habits that plug you into a universal rhythm. That rhythm carries your thoughts, actions, and expectations outward, and brings back the results you've seeded. Let's explore exactly what this force is, and how to activate it. What is the Cosmic Habit Force? Napoleon Hill defined the Cosmic Habit Force, CHF, as the universal law through which all habits are established, and by which all things and circumstances connected with habit are maintained. In simpler terms, it is the invisible energy field that turns your repeated thoughts and actions into patterns. It is the law that says, whatever you do consistently, whether good or bad, becomes easier to keep doing. It is the force that automates your life, for better or for worse. The power of CHF is neutral. It doesn't care whether your habits are productive or destructive. It simply reinforces whatever you repeatedly think, feel, and do. That's why most people live in cycles they can't break. They've accidentally trained their minds and behaviors in ways that attract limitation. But PMA allows you to take intentional control of that force. It allows you to install new success patterns and let the universe support and accelerate them. PMA as the trigger for the cosmic habit force. Think of PMA as the conscious input and CHF as the automatic system that builds reality based on that input. When you choose to focus on what's possible instead of what's wrong, believe in your power instead of your excuses, act in faith instead of freeze in fear, you are installing new habits. And every time you repeat that new habit, the CHF picks it up and begins rewiring your subconscious and attracting matching circumstances. Hill taught that once a habit is installed through repetition and emotion, the cosmic habit force kicks in to keep it alive automatically. That's why building PMA isn't just a motivational strategy, it's an act of spiritual engineering. You're reprogramming your mental DNA. And once PMA becomes your default setting, success begins to flow to you, not without effort, but without resistance. The science of repetition and rhythm. Hill was ahead of his time. Today, neuroscience confirms that neural pathways are formed and strengthened by repetition. The brain doesn't know right from wrong, it just obeys what you practice most often. If you practice fear, you become anxious. If you practice doubt, you become passive. If you practice courage, you become bold. If you practice PMA, you become powerful. The cosmic habit force is Hill's way of saying, what you repeat becomes who you are, and what you are becomes what you attract. That's why PMA must be daily, intentional, and protected. Because once installed, it takes over. Think of it as compound interest, not of money, but of mental energy. At first, the shift feels slow. You may feel like nothing's happening. But stay with it. Repeat your affirmations. Reinforce your goals. Choose faith over fear every day. And suddenly, a tipping point comes. People notice something different in you. Opportunities show up faster. Ideas arrive with clarity. You become magnetic. That is CHF at work, aligning with the rhythm of the universe. Hill often spoke about rhythm, the idea that the universe operates in cycles and patterns. Day and night, seasons, breathing, heartbeats, tides, moons. Everything in nature follows a rhythm. So does success. When you live in negativity, fear, or chaos, you fall out of rhythm. Life feels hard, disjointed, stuck. But when you align with PMA, you align with the natural rhythm of growth, creation, and abundance. You begin to feel in the flow. Decisions come easier. Challenges shrink. Synchronicities increase. This is not magic. It's vibrational alignment. PMA tunes your inner frequency to match the frequency of expansion. And the cosmic habit force keeps you locked in, if you remain consistent. PMA plus CHF equals predictable success. Let's break this down practically. Imagine a person with a clear goal, a written plan, daily PMA practice, a powerful self-image, gratitude and action. If they repeat those elements daily for 90 days, what happens? They begin to build habits. Their subconscious adjusts. They take bolder action. They speak with more confidence. They attract aligned people. They feel more certain, more alive, more on purpose. And once CHF kicks in, those behaviors become automatic. Now success is not just a goal, it's a lifestyle. Momentum builds. Opportunities arrive. Doors open. It becomes predictable. This is what Hill meant when he said, success comes to those who become success conscious. Not once, not occasionally, but habitually. Reprogramming your inner world. To activate the cosmic habit force, Hill advised 3 major reprogramming strategies. Autosuggestion. Feed your mind new instructions with powerful, emotional affirmations. Definiteness of purpose. Always focus your energy on a major life goal that excites you. Repetition and emotion. Combine discipline with desire to implant new mental blueprints. Example. Let's say your old belief is, I'm not good with money. PMA says, I'm learning to master money. I attract wealth. I serve with value. I deserve abundance. You say that, write it, visualize it, and act on it daily. After weeks or months, your belief changes. Your actions shift, and your external results begin to reflect your new identity. That's the cosmic habit force in motion. Protecting the channel. The power of CHF depends on consistency, but consistency requires protection. Here's how you protect the channel. Guard your input. No gossip, negative media, or complaining voices. Protect your self-talk. No sarcasm, self-deprecation, or emotional sabotage. Honor your routine. Morning affirmations, visualization, gratitude, action. Reject emotional laziness. No room for, I don't feel like it. PMA is chosen, not waited on. When you treat your attitude like your most valuable asset, the universe responds in kind. Because it is. The momentum effect. Hill taught that the hardest part is the beginning, before CHF kicks in. That's when most people quit. They don't see results yet. They feel alone. They want proof before belief. But belief must come before results. Once you push through that phase, a shift happens. It's like a rocket launch. 80% of the energy is spent leaving the ground. After that, momentum takes over. So expect resistance early on. Expect inner doubt. Expect temporary silence. But don't stop, because on the other side is effortless power. Final word of Block 4. Become unstoppable by design. You are not meant to struggle forever. You are not here to guess your way through life. You are not a victim of randomness. You are a builder. You have a mind that can choose. You have emotions that can be trained. You have habits that can be installed. And once you align your inner world with PMA, once you feed that attitude with belief, purpose, and action, once you repeat it enough times with emotion and faith, the cosmic habit force will take over. And then you will become unstoppable, by design, not by luck. The only question is, are you willing to take control of your input long enough to let the universe reinforce it? If so, the rhythm of success is already beating, and you are finally in sync. Block 5, PMA and Influence. How your attitude shapes relationships, leadership, and legacy. When people think about success, they often focus on skills, strategies, or systems. But Napoleon Hill teaches us that no form of success is complete, or even possible, without the ability to lead others, inspire loyalty, and build lasting relationships. And all of that depends, more than anything else, on your mental attitude. In The Master Key to Riches, Hill makes it clear, positive mental attitude, PMA, is not just a tool for personal transformation. It's a magnet that attracts the right people, builds trust, and amplifies your leadership. Think about it. Would you willingly follow someone who complains, doubts, blames, or reacts in fear? Would you trust someone who's constantly negative, passive, or emotionally unstable? Of course not. Now reverse the question. Who inspires you? Who influences you? Who do you naturally want to help, support, and follow? Chances are, it's someone with clarity, strength, and unwavering belief. That's PMA in action. In this block, we'll explore how your attitude directly shapes your social world, how it draws allies, creates opportunities, builds influence, and allows you to lead powerfully, not through fear or force, but through the energy of example. Let's dive in. PMA makes you magnetic. He'll often emphasize that people are drawn not to what you say, but to how you think and who you are being. PMA is not loud. It doesn't demand attention, but it radiates. It's visible in your eyes, your tone, your energy, your presence. When you walk into a room with positive mental attitude, people notice, even if they can't describe it. They feel your calm. They feel your certainty. They feel your confidence, not as arrogance, but as quiet conviction. This is what makes you magnetic. Opportunities are offered to you because you project possibility. Mentors open doors for you because they sense your hunger. Teams want to follow you because you make them feel stronger. Partners want to build with you because you elevate the room. This is not manipulation. It's not tactics. It's energetic leadership. And it all begins with the way you train your mind. Relationships reflect your inner world. Your mental attitude sets the tone for every relationship in your life. He'll believe that your dominant thoughts and feelings broadcast a signal that others subconsciously respond to. If you expect betrayal, you create distance. If you expect trust, you invite openness. If you assume value in others, they show it. If you act from fear, you provoke fear in return. This is not fantasy, it's emotional intelligence. Think of PMA as a tuning fork. When you resonate at a high frequency, gratitude, courage, integrity, others match it. But when you carry doubt, anger, or insecurity, it seeps into your tone, your timing, your choices. That's why changing your mindset changes your relationships. The person who adopts PMA becomes easier to trust, easier to respect, easier to follow, easier to love. You stop blaming others. You stop expecting disappointment. You start giving what you want to receive, and life responds. PMA and communication. Speaking with impact. One of the most visible ways your mental attitude shows up is in your communication. Hill taught that the ability to speak clearly, confidently, and with purpose was one of the master skills of leadership, and PMA is the fuel behind it. When you carry PMA, you speak with conviction, not confusion. You focus on solutions, not complaints. You uplift, not undermine. You ask questions that open minds, not close hearts. People remember how you make them feel. PMA makes your words feel like fuel, not fire. It gives your message weight, not because you shout, but because you believe what you say. And belief is contagious. Even in conflict, PMA allows you to stay grounded, respectful, and forward-focused. You stop needing to be right. You start aiming to be effective. This transforms conversations from power struggles into creative collaboration. PMA in leadership. Influence without authority. You don't need a title to be a leader. You need vision, self-control, and example. Hill wrote, "The best leaders are those who lead by example, with a positive mental attitude that lifts everyone around them." When you lead with PMA, you don't dominate, you inspire. You don't force, you guide. You don't react, you respond. Your power doesn't come from fear, it comes from trust. And that trust is earned through consistency. People follow leaders who stay calm under pressure, make decisions with clarity, admit mistakes with humility, lift others without ego. These are all byproducts of a trained mind. PMA is what allows you to lead even when you're not in charge, because your presence itself becomes leadership. PMA and conflict. From reaction to resolution. Conflict is inevitable, but your response to conflict reveals your level of growth. Without PMA, people argue to win. They defend their egos. They escalate. They lose perspective. With PMA, conflict becomes a chance to listen with patience, speak with precision, seek win-win outcomes, preserve the relationship. PMA doesn't mean you avoid confrontation. It means you handle it with integrity and grace. You become the emotional adult in the room. You keep your eyes on the big picture. And because of that, people trust you, even when they disagree. This is how you gain influence that lasts. Building a PMA culture. One person's attitude can shape the energy of an entire team, family, or organization. PMA spreads. When one person models optimism, responsibility, gratitude, initiative, focus, it gives others permission to rise. He'll believe that the most successful companies, movements, and communities were built not just on systems, but on shared belief. That belief starts with one leader who refuses to complain, refuses to quit, and refuses to be shaken. That's you. When you live PMA, you teach it without words. You raise the emotional ceiling of every room you enter. You become a thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the emotional tone, rather than react to it. That's real power. PMA and service. Attracting through value. Hill taught that your influence increases in direct proportion to the value you provide, and PMA makes you more valuable in every way. You listen better. You solve problems faster. You encourage growth in others. You see potential where others see problems. This makes you a magnet for collaboration. People want to work with you. They want you on their team. They think of you when opportunity comes. Not because you're flashy, but because you're solid. PMA positions you as someone who makes things better. Environments, people, outcomes. And that's a brand more powerful than any logo or title. PMA and legacy. The influence that outlives you. Ultimately, the true measure of your life is not how much you achieved, it's how many people you helped rise. Hill believed that legacy is the final reward of living with purpose and PMA. When you live with integrity, faith, vision, compassion, resilience, you plant seeds in people that grow long after you're gone. Your children, your colleagues, your clients, your friends, they become better because you lived fully. And that ripple never ends. PMA allows you to lead a life that echoes, not with noise, but with meaning. Final word of Block 5. Lead by the energy you carry. Your greatest influence isn't in what you do. It's in who you are while you do it. PMA transforms your leadership because it transforms your presence. People remember the leader who stayed calm in crisis. They remember the mentor who believed in them when no one else did. They remember the friend who uplifted without judgment. That can be you, starting now. You don't need permission. You don't need status. You just need to choose, daily, to be the kind of person you'd want to follow. Lead with strength, not force. Speak with belief, not fear. Give with joy, not obligation. And watch how doors open, not because you chased influence, but because you became it. Block 6. Sustaining PMA. How to protect your attitude and stay unshakable for life. Building positive mental attitude, PMA, is powerful. But keeping it, day after day, through setbacks, criticism, and inner doubt, is what separates those who taste success from those who live in it. Napoleon Hill never said that PMA was easy. He said it was worth it. Because life doesn't stop challenging you just because you changed your mindset. If anything, the moment you adopt PMA, the world will test it. A sudden financial hit. A betrayal from someone close. A business that's not growing fast enough. A loss that shakes your faith. A season of confusion where nothing seems to work. So how do you stay rooted? How do you protect your progress, renew your belief, and show up with energy when everything in you wants to retreat? In this final core block, we'll explore Hill's most essential practices for long-term PMA, including how to reset during tough times, guard your inner world, and keep expanding your vision no matter what life throws at you. PMA is a garden. If you don't tend it, weeds will grow. The first truth Hill wants you to remember is this. PMA is never permanent by accident. It must be cultivated daily. Your mind is like a garden. PMA is the fruit you want to grow. But weeds, negativity, fear, doubt, apathy, appear on their own. If you don't pull them up, they take over. That's why maintenance is everything. Success is not one decision. It's 1,000 small reinforcements of the right decision. You don't have PMA. You live it. You choose it. You protect it. Every single day. Daily reset. The mental reboot ritual. Hill knew that life can wear down even the strongest mind. So he recommended a daily PMA reset, a structured time each morning to get your mind right before the world gets in. Here's a framework you can use. Gratitude. Write down 3 things you're thankful for, from the heart, not just the head. Purpose statement. Read your definite major purpose out loud with energy. Affirmations. Speak 3 empowering statements tied to your values and goals. Visualization. See yourself acting with confidence and succeeding that day. Emotional shift. Take 60 seconds to feel the emotion of already having what you desire. Done in 10 minutes, this ritual becomes mental armor. It reminds you who you are. It places intention before reaction. It centers your energy and shields it. No athlete competes without warm-up. Why would you enter a day of pressure and noise without tuning your mind? Guarding your inputs. Don't let the world think for you. One of Hill's most repeated warnings is this: you become what you think about, and what you think about is shaped by what you allow in. In other words, your environment is not neutral. Everything you consume, the news you scroll, the music you play, the people you call, the conversations you tolerate, the comments you read, all of it programs your subconscious. And over time, it either reinforces your PMA or poisons it. This is not about isolation, it's about discernment. Start asking, does this feed my focus or drain it? Does this content empower me or shrink me? Does this voice bring clarity or confusion? Then act accordingly. Mute what's toxic. Distance what's disempowering. Replace noise with fuel. You are not obligated to absorb what the world offers. You are responsible for what you accept. PMA under pressure. Responding, not reacting. The real test of PMA isn't how you think on a sunny day. It's how you respond when the storm hits. Hill emphasized the power of response over reaction. Most people hear bad news and panic, receive criticism and crumble, face delay and give up. But when PMA is rooted in you, you respond with curiosity. What's this here to teach me? Faith. This detour must have purpose. Creativity. What new door is opening? You remain the observer, not the victim. And even when emotions hit hard, you pause. You breathe. You delay your response until it aligns with your higher self. This is how you become unshakable, not by avoiding emotion, but by mastering it. The power of recommitment. PMA will fade if not renewed. So Hill recommended the habit of recommitment, returning daily to your original why. Do this. Revisit your major purpose once a week. Rewrite it from scratch once a month. Ask, is this still true for me? Does it still ignite me? Refuel the emotional connection. Make it real. When you forget your why, your fire goes out. But when you reconnect to it, you rise. Even tired, even discouraged, even unsure. You don't need more energy. You need remembrance. PMA is the light. Your purpose is the spark. Keep it alive. Handling negativity from others. Let's be honest. Sometimes the biggest threat to your PMA isn't internal. It's the people around you. The partner who doubts your dream. The coworker who complains daily. The friend who jokes about your new mindset. The client who criticizes with no grace. Hill said, if you allow others to poison your mind, you'll live their life instead of your own. So how do you handle it? Don't argue. Don't defend. Don't shrink. You don't need to explain PMA to people who don't want it. Lead by example. Let your results speak louder than their opinions. Set energetic boundaries. Limit exposure to constant negativity. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Create new circles. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to rise. PMA doesn't mean you reject others. It means you refuse to abandon yourself to stay comfortable. Your mental space is sacred. Treat it like royalty. Rest and recovery. The hidden side of PMA. Hill understood something many modern hustlers forget. A burned-out mind cannot sustain a positive attitude. You are not a machine. You are a human being with cycles. And part of long-term PMA is knowing when to pause, rest, and reset. Take walks without your phone. Sleep like your life depends on it. Laugh deeply. Disconnect completely at times. Let yourself just be. Rejuvenation is not laziness. It is strategic mental maintenance. If you want to stay sharp, you must know when to stop forcing. Sometimes, your best ideas come when you're not chasing them. PMA thrives in clarity, and clarity requires space. The long view, thinking decades ahead. Here's a truth few embrace. Real success takes years. But PMA makes the wait purposeful. Hill encouraged readers to stop chasing overnight wins and start thinking like legacy builders. Ask yourself, who do I want to be in 10 years? What habits must I practice daily to become that person? What mindset must I lock in today to lead the life I want tomorrow? When you think long-term, you stop reacting to short-term chaos. You realize that each day is a deposit into the bank of your future. And PMA becomes your vehicle, not just to survive the journey, but to love it. Final word of Block 6. Make PMA your home, not a hotel. You've come a long way. You now understand what PMA is, how to build it, how to apply it, how to lead with it, how to unlock universal laws through it. But here's the final message. Don't treat PMA like a temporary escape. Make it your permanent home. Don't visit it when life gets tough. Don't borrow it when you need motivation. Live in it. Own it. Embody it. Let PMA be your default state, not because life is perfect, but because you are rooted in truth, in vision, and in self-leadership. When your mind becomes your ally, your heart becomes your compass, your actions become consistent. Final summary. The Master Key to Riches. 1. Attitude, infinite power. There are books that inform. There are books that entertain. And then there are books that awaken something deep inside you. Something that's been waiting, perhaps for years, to be claimed. The Master Key to Riches is one of those books. But not because it gives you a checklist. Not because it hands you secret formulas. And not because it promises instant wealth. No. This book changes lives because it does something more powerful. It hands you back your mind. It reminds you of a truth most people forget. You are not your past. You are not your circumstances. You are not your fears. You are the architect of your thinking. And that thinking creates everything. Napoleon Hill's central message is clear, urgent, and revolutionary. The Master Key to Riches is positive mental attitude, PMA. Not a theory, not a hack, not a mood, a lifestyle, a discipline, a decision repeated so often, it becomes who you are. In this final reflection, we'll revisit the 6 foundations of the book, then integrate them into a single, unstoppable path forward. Let's begin. The nature of the Master Key. From the start, Hill pulls no punches. Everything you achieve, or fail to achieve, will be the direct result of your mental attitude. It's not your degree, not your job, not your network, not your luck. Your dominant state of mind determines what you believe is possible, how you react under pressure, whether you see opportunities or obstacles, who you attract and how they respond to you, the level of success you allow yourself to experience. PMA is not wishful thinking. It is mental power, practiced and protected. It is the choice to expect good things, even in hard times. Take full ownership of your life, even when others blame. See failure as feedback, even when it hurts. Show up with energy, even when you're tired. Focus on what you can control, even when chaos hits. When you lock into this mindset, you activate the Master Key, and everything begins to shift. 2. Building PMA step by step. PMA is not a one-time decision. It is a habitual state you install through daily rituals and deliberate focus. Hill's system is practical. Start with purpose. Know exactly what you want and why. Vague goals create vague energy. Speak power into your mind. Use affirmations and autosuggestion to rewire your belief system. Visualize success. Mentally live your goal before it arrives. Act despite fear. Train your nervous system to respond, not react. Protect your inputs. Surround yourself with strength, not doubt. Practice gratitude. It keeps your focus on abundance, not scarcity. These aren't tricks. They're tools for mental conditioning. And the more you use them, the more PMA becomes your default setting. 3. Transforming failure into fuel. Everyone fails. But PMA decides what that failure means. Without PMA, you call it the end. You blame yourself or others. You spiral into doubt. With PMA, you extract the lesson. You pivot with purpose. You rise stronger. Hill teaches that within every setback is the seed of something greater. But only those with PMA can see it, because they're looking through the right lens. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" You start asking, "How is this shaping me?" That shift turns pain into power. It builds resilience. It deepens character. And it makes success inevitable. Not overnight, but over time. 4. Activating the invisible force, cosmic habit force. One of Hill's most profound teachings is that the universe responds to your mental habits. He called this the cosmic habit force, the law by which all habits, once formed, begin to operate automatically. It's like compound interest, but for your attitude, your expectations, and your results. When you repeat PMA daily, you change your brain. You reprogram your subconscious. You align with invisible forces of momentum. You start attracting people, ideas, and results that match your inner state. PMA is the trigger. CHF is the engine. Together, they make success a pattern, not a fluke. But it only works when you're consistent. You must repeat the attitude until it becomes your identity. PMA and people, influence that radiates. Success is never isolated. It's relational. And the attitude you carry shapes who trusts you, who follows you, who opens doors for you, who stays in your life when it gets hard. PMA makes you magnetic, not by charm, but by presence. You become the person who lifts others when they fall, the leader who sees possibility under pressure, the communicator who speaks with clarity and calm, the friend, partner, or mentor others can count on. Hill's wisdom is clear. The person with PMA lifts others just by being in the room. It's not about manipulation. It's about energy, consistency, and belief. Lead yourself first, and others will follow. 6. Protecting PMA over time. The world is noisy. Fear sells. Negativity is viral. Doubt is easy. So if you want to keep your PMA strong, you must practice a daily mindset ritual. Audit your environment regularly. Recommit to your purpose often. Rest and recharge intentionally. Avoid toxic conversations and media. Surround yourself with people who think big. And when you fall, because you will, you don't beat yourself up. You reset. You remember. You realign. PMA is not perfection. It is resilience in motion. You will stumble, but you don't stay down. You get up faster each time, because you've trained for this. The real riches. Napoleon Hill never said riches were just about money. He defined wealth as peace of mind, health of body, harmony in relationships, freedom of time, joy of purpose, abundance of spirit. Money is part of it, but it's the byproduct, not the prize. The real riches come when you master the one thing that controls everything. Your attitude. Because when your mind is clear, powerful, and focused, you attract what matches your frequency. You create instead of complain. You influence without needing to impress. You rise, not because life is easy, but because you've become unstoppable from within. Final reflection. The door is already unlocked. So what do you do now? You've learned the principles. You've seen the patterns. You've heard the truth. Now it's time to live it. Not someday. Not after the next podcast. No. Because here's the real secret. The door to your dream life has never been locked. The handle has always been within reach. And the master key has always been your mental attitude. Your habits of thought have built the world you live in. But starting today, you build with new tools. Purpose, gratitude, discipline, vision, belief, courage, faith, positive mental attitude. Make them your bricks. Lay them daily. And soon, you won't just be thinking about success. You'll be living inside of it. Not as a guest, but as the architect, as the builder, as the rightful owner of a life by design. You now hold the master key. Use it,